Yeah. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pigskin and the Mosh Pit podcast. I am your MC host. I got my co-host with me tonight, Mr. Dan Gillis and Larry the Wolf. What's up, everybody?
Ow!
And we got it. Oh, we will not be joined by Jeff Hatrix as we usually will be, as purgatory's practices have been moved to Tuesday. Now we are no longer going to be doing these with Jeff. But I do hope I sent a bad signal out to somebody. I'm hoping to get a response here. You never know. Somebody might creep in and jump in at some point. You never know. It's tough though to get people to come on last minute. So we all know. But anyways, us three can get the job done just fine. Yeah. We got plenty to talk about. And by the way, before we even get totally started, I want to just comment on Larry. So before we start with the Browns, because we'll lead with the Browns, but this is going to be the shortest Brown segment maybe in our history of our show. And then I do want to talk about the incident with Brett Favre, because I watched it now like 64 times.
Yep.
Once you watch it, you can't stop watching it.
Yep.
It's one of them things that you're just like over and over. You keep watching it, and you're just like, wow, what a moment that is, dude. That is like, it's so great that someone was there to catch that. I love that. I just love that it's all caught. I mean, it's probably on purpose that it was caught, and it was probably whatever the reason is. It's entertainment,
and it's only a year old. It's 2023, so it's
that's
cool.
like at the highest level, the entertainment. Isn't
there supposed to be a 30 for 30 coming out on Gastineau?
Yeah,
it's on the New York Sack Exchange.
Okay.
Yeah, the New York Sack Exchange. That's what it's from. They said that comes out Friday, I believe. Yeah, and what a spectacular scene. You want to talk about making it a show that I want to go watch. I want to watch that. Who doesn't now? I mean, it's great.
I hope they talk about the end of the 86 championship game.
You know, it's funny you bring that up, Dan, though, because that is, and it's great to see you guys.
It's great to see you, Larry, Dan. Hell yeah.
Gastineau has become, for people who haven't yet seen what you're talking about, BigBri, is that there's a scene from I don't know if it's a card or a signing event from 2023, and Brett Favre is there.
Whoa. I was going to put go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll keep going.
Shall I go?
Yeah. It was my fault.
That's all right. So I don't know if it's a card, it's some kind of an event or a signing event, and Gastineau was there with the team from ESPN who's doing the 30 for 30. And they were following them around. And Marty Lyons is there. Abdul Salam, who just passed since that happened. He passed this year.
I see. There was a film crew there with him.
Yeah, Abdul Salam, the soldier of peace, played at Kent State University. His name was Larry. I forget what his last name was originally. But anyway, and Gastineau, Klecko wasn't there. And he heard that Favre was there. So Gastineau decided to go confront him and tell him, as you can see, Favre comes over and says, hey, I think we met years ago. Yeah, he met him at the game in 2001 that Favre took the dive for his buddy Michael Strahan. Even during the commentary, what's his name is on it? Troy Aikman says, yeah, that looks terrible. He took a dive. Teuscher and the rest of the Packers offensive linemen were pissed at Favre for doing it. He called a play to the left. He rolls right, looks at Strahan, takes the dive. Strahan beats Gastineau's sack, 22 by a half a sack, and is on the ground blubbering like a baby, weeping, goes off to the sidelines, weeping and crying while his team is still trying to win a game on the field. Gastineau graciously showed up because at that point they had gone 17, 18 seasons. No one was able to break his record. Not the great Reggie White, not LT, not Derek Thomas, not Chris Dolman, not Bruce Smith, not any of the premier. None of them could do it. Nobody broke it legitimately till TJ Watt did a few years ago when he hit 22 and a half. So Strahan got a bogus sack from his buddy Favre in the last week of the 2001 season, and he got a bogus record. And that's been, and he's had to answer questions about that forever. Gastineau, who's gone through dementia and other things, he's having problems. He's got Parkinson's. He's not in good shape. He confronted Favre, and Favre acted like a little bitch. He's like, "Oh, you going to hurt me?" And he says, "You hurt me, Brett. You hurt me back then."
Yeah,
and it's right. It was legacy. Gastineau's had a terrible, unhappy life. He really has.
It's amazing to watch Favre. Watching Favre's eyes.
Yeah, if they threw guys out of the Hall of any sports Hall of Fame based on whether or not they're a good character guy or because they had a high moral compass, I doubt 50% of them, and that's being generous, would be inducted. Well, so regardless of what his character was off the field, the guy was a fucking force, and for about 5 years, he was like most great defensive players, where it's TJ Watt, whoever, they have a period where they're great.
Yeah,
he had 5 years where he was unstoppable. He's one of the few guys that beat LT in his prime for a Defensive Player of the Year award.
They're gonna ruin the game of football. I'm telling you, they are. But the way
already started.
When I'm watching these guys now, it's not even holding anymore. Like, you got the offensive lineman now literally tackling dudes all the time. I mean, it's like I'm just like I and nobody's even, now the announcers just stopped talking about it, and now it's just starting to become like, well, I guess that's part of the game now. I'm like, that sucks if that's part of the game. If they're gonna take the pass rush out of the game just to protect that fucking quarterback, then I'm telling you right now, they're going to absolutely ruin the game 100%. They're going to ruin the game. That's the best part of the game. The pressure is the best part of the whole game of football.
Yeah.
They're going to take it away.
They're picking and choosing, just like pass interference. They're picking and choosing who they call the holding on with defense. Some defensive linemen, again, they're going to call it. Other guys, they're not going to call it.
They always did that though, but now it's becoming way more widespread. So now it's become way more like every game I watch now. It's like that's what it's like. It used to be just, to me, it was my Homer instinct telling me that it was against the Browns only, blah blah blah. But now I've been watching more games, and I'm kind of been watching a lot more stuff, going like, you know what? The whole league now is just turned into this fucking bizarre league anymore, where like the penalties aren't even like, you don't even understand the game anymore. I've watched the game my whole life, and things are happening around this game, and I watch it, and I'm like, was that really roughing the passer? Was that really pass interference? I mean, like, all the time I'm questioning things. I'm going, well, I guess it was because it was called, but it was never pass interference. Like, when did that become that? I question it all the time. It's just
there's two people that are two entities that will benefit the most from holding penalties: the Kansas City Chiefs and whoever blocks Myles Garrett. Yeah.
Well, dude, I see it. No, I would say I agree.
Anybody, and they never call it.
Yeah, but that's what we see. I'm telling you, I'm watching all of it happening now, though. It wasn't just Garrett. I know Garrett gets held. I mean, I watch it too with him. They all do, though. All the great ones, they're tackling them, though. It's not, these guys aren't holding anymore, where they're just kind of like holding them as they go by a little too long and getting the flag. You're seeing arms that are completely out around dudes' necks, dragging them down as they're going by them now. And it wasn't just Garrett. I've been seeing it. I saw it with Watt. I saw it with all these great pass rushers. They're all getting dragged down now. Linemen they know now they're not gonna get called, so they're just dragging everyone down. Dude, it sucks. I hate it. It sucks. I think it sucks. It sucks. Football's starting to suck, if you want my real opinion. All these quarterback records and anything quarterbacks are doing right now, honestly, it's just like the fucking steroid era in fucking baseball. Fucking throw them out the window.
Asterisk.
Did you guys watch the Bengals and the Cowboys?
No, I saw
very little. Very little.
It was a domination.
You know who gets held all the time? Dan, I'm sorry. Myles Garrett. All right. Yeah, just like he gets quadruple teamed every play. He doesn't get double on every play. The sack he got the other day at the end of the game, that was a one-on-one sack. He didn't get doubled on that. And he got a sack. He got his sack. He celebrated. Good job. Big deal. It was in garbage time. You know who gets held too? That guy Hendrickson from the Bengals. He was getting held to it, and he's ahead of Myles Garrett this year in sacks. And you know what? He's finished ahead of Myles Garrett 3 out of the last 5 years in sacks. Nobody talks about that guy. He's a good player. He was getting held left and right last night. And one of the other, you know how we talked about Sam Darnold getting that egregious face mask early in the season in the end zone? Okay, Joe Burrow's got the same thing last night. No call. He got his helmet pulled around to here. No call. But
that's weird.
The Bengals had one. Bengals had one against the Ravens a couple of weeks ago, where there were 3 face mask penalties, literally going on at the same time, and they didn't call any of them. And it was like right in the door. They were right in the red zone. Yeah, and they lost that game.
So, anyways, real quick, before we get too carried away with the other stuff, like I said, we'll start with the Browns, and I'll start it off real quick. Obviously, the story with the Browns is and always will be quarterback situation. Really, number one. Jameis Winston again proves that he will always, be that guy.
Exciting, but that's it.
Yeah, and you know what though? It's still like the way this, and I'm, call me an asshole, whatever. I don't give a fuck. The way this season is already fucking like gone, I guess you would say. I just want to see Jameis Winston the rest of the year now. At this point, like the guy makes every game so exciting, whether you win or lose it. You're not winning anything anyways. I mean, who cares at this point? I mean, you're not. And if I hear one more fucking person go, well, let's put DTR out there. Let's see what we got with that guy. That guy is garbage. All right. That guy is never going to be a fucking good quarterback. That guy has no chance in my world of ever being the guy. We're going to go through how many quarterbacks and sign how many guys and draft how many dudes and all that. And that's the guy that's going to save the day. DTR. Okay, well, I'm sorry. There's not even a chance in hell I believe it. So let this guy play. I don't care. So he throws 3 picks, like 5,000 yards and 3 picks. It's fun. It's incredibly fun to watch. So sign me up for Jameis Winston for the rest of the year, and then worry about your quarterback when the year's over.
You know who I want to see? Bailey Zappi.
Play
him. He beat us. He played with the Patriots.
You brought up Zappy.
Yeah,
I knew you. They got
him on the team for a reason. Let's see what he can do.
Listen, I don't care. You can throw him in there, but throw him in there in a time where it doesn't. I don't know. You got to admit, dude. You got to admit, Winston's fun to watch. I mean,
I hate him
in a Browns uniform.
I hate him.
Really,
I can't stand him.
Fucking.
He frustrates me. He makes the dumbest decisions at the wrong time.
He does.
He
does. Like, he's he's the worst at the worst. He's the worst at like doing this. Like, and then when he does it, like, dude, he looks so fucking brilliant for so long. It's unbelievable that you're just like, this can't be him. And he's just like, see, he's got this rocket. I mean, his arm is a fucking machine gun rocket, dude. And when he's hitting them, it's incredible to watch. And then all of a sudden, and when he does it, dude, it's the most ridiculous thing. You're like, but dude, it wasn't even close. It's like, what happened? And he does it over and over and over. It's the best. I mean, I can almost say like I admire watching the guy right now because at least it's exciting. Dude, I could be honest with you, dude. We have not had anything exciting on offense, really. Nick Chubb was it. Like they're talking about, I was just listening to him today talking about drafting a running back. I'm like, with the first round pick, I'm like, stop. I got Chubb with the second round pick. You don't have to go reaching for these running backs. You don't have to. Anyways,
you don't have to reach for a quarterback either.
No, not in this draft. I don't think you're going to find one. Anyway, so the Browns lost to Pittsburgh. They had a chance to redeem the entire fucking season and win that game. They blew it. Another just, to me, it's just like I said with Michigan. You can beat Michigan and just save your whole season. You can beat Pittsburgh twice right now, and right now, I don't know, good job. But we'll get them next year. I'm happy, but they couldn't do it. They blew it. They sucked. They looked terrible in that game actually.
So I don't know if you remember, we were kids, and they made a big deal about the Three Rivers jinx.
Oh yeah,
the Three Rivers Stadium opened in 1970. The Browns went 0 for 16 the first 16 years it was open.
Yeah.
Bernie Kosar.
Dude, your microphone's cutting in and out pretty bad right now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So they made a big deal about that Three Rivers Jinx being 16 years. Folks, the Heinz Field, Acrisure, whatever the fuck you want to call that stadium, that jinx is out at 21 years. We only won there one time in the regular season in 2003. Tim Couch was the quarterback. I remember that game. It was a Sunday night, and it was awesome. And then they won the playoff game that nobody attended. And that's been
right.
it.
Nobody attended.
And that's been it. Those are the only 2 wins the Browns have had in Pittsburgh since 2003. We won in Three Rivers in '99, which was awesome. Phil Dawson's field goal to win it. But then that's been it. We were 7. We've only won in Pittsburgh 7 times since 1970. Total.
Here's another interesting stat I just heard today that I thought was so just the futility of both these clubs. So they asked the question, what is worse? The fact that the Browns have had 10 loss seasons in 18 of the seasons out of the 26 since they've been back, or 25, which whenever it is, that they've been back. 18 of them, they've had 10 or more losses in each of those years. What's worse, that or the fact that the Jets haven't been to the playoffs in 14 straight years? That was the question. I'm like, dude, really? It really doesn't matter. It just proves that these are the 2 most futile. I mean, think about this too with the Browns, and this is something you're just starting to hear about. All the windows are starting to close everywhere. All the windows with all their players. I mean, even Myles Garrett is an old man in football years. I mean, he's getting up there now. These guys are getting up there now. Your window to really dominate is and you still don't have a quarterback. I mean, you're basically fucked at this point, right?
Well, I
mean, you're gonna get lightning in a bottle. I mean, that's what they're gonna have to have. And Jameis Winston, he's not it. He's not your long-term answer. He's not going to win enough games for you because he ruins it. But dude, he's so much fun. I mean, I got to be honest with you. He's a blast to me. I really like watching him play. I almost like him more than Flacco, to be honest with you, to watch. Just the recklessness that he throws it with, dude, is fucking insane.
If you're gonna watch your team lose, why not watch them lose in a spectacular way that at least you have hope for?
500 yards is
that game a few weeks ago in the snow. That was their Super Bowl for the year.
It was so fun.
He threw 170 yards and pick sixes, but he threw 490 some yards. It was, as you said, it's fun to watch. And if your team's going to suck anyway, at least have a little fun. Or do what I did: switch over and watch the Bills versus the Rams the other day, and watch some great football.
That's what I was saying.
Matt Stafford versus what's his name,
Josh Allen,
and it was great. And we're talking about these guys that are all pretenders at that position. Those guys were throwing shit that these guys that we have on our 2 squads can't even hope to throw.
No doubt.
And that includes Watson. He's not, when he says elite, he's not even remotely in their stratosphere.
Not anymore.
And he wasn't then. He didn't do shit then. He had to get, statistical years, tough shit. Ryan Fitzmagic with the beard has the greatest statistical season in New York Jet history. Does anybody fucking care?
Well, you're right.
Nobody fucking cares. Who cares?
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
There was, and when you talk about BigBri, we talked about the 14-year
playoff drought
year for the Well, the Jets have to go 3 more seasons to go to 17 to tie the Browns, because they're tied for the most ever in the longest drought. It's 17 seasons.
Yeah, dude, but we broke our fucking record.
And they're putrid, but they still have 1 ring.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, dude, you guys, we will beat you for worseness. Don't worry. Just give us a chance.
They both suck.
Don't worry, dude. I have all the fucking faith in the world. We will fuck it up worse than the Jets somehow. Don't worry.
Yeah. It's like eating a rotten apple or a rotten orange. They're both rotten. Who cares? They're both shitty.
Yeah, and what do you think about Chubb? I mean, like it's tough to watch. Like I'm not, and what so sucks about the Browns always is like you watch these guys with doubt all the time because you're like, is it Chubb? Does the line suck? Is it nobody really is running good on this team? Is he could like what like is it just Chubb's not the same anymore? I mean, can we all agree that, or do you think it's the whole culmination of the whole situation?
I think Chubb is not that guy anymore, and it's a miracle that he came back. I mean, let's just applaud the fact that he bounced back from an injury that 10 years ago would have been career-ending for anybody.
Yeah,
and he came back in a little over a year, and he's looked decent, but he's not that guy. He's not. He doesn't have that it anymore. That special. And granted, he's had this ain't the first time he's had a knee injury. It's the same injury that he had in college and got re-aggravated, and he was able to bounce back for the one in college. But he was also a young man. Now he's going to be 30, and he's not 100%. He's a great guy to have. He's humble. He works hard. He runs hard when he can. He's a guy that you want in your locker room. He's a guy that you can. He's my favorite Brown. No question. And I can guarantee that there's gonna be a lot of Browns fans out there that are gonna agree with me that Nick Chubb is their favorite Brown. If they had to pick one, I like that guy. But it comes a time and you gotta look and say he's just not that guy anymore. I mean, I almost feel like if you bring him back, you have to bring him back on a incentive deal, like a prove it deal, maybe a 1-year deal, and you got to go find that next guy to step up. And I don't think it's Jerome Ford. I think Jerome Ford's a nice complimentary piece, but you got to go running back along with quarterback hunting. You got to find another running back because he's here. He's starting to go here.
Yeah.
And it pains me to say that as a Chubb fan, as a Browns fan, but
well, their line's starting to age too. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, like the line is aging. Everything about the Browns is starting to get older now. I mean, what once was the youngest team not that long ago is no longer that, and it's quick. I mean, the NFL it takes a couple years and done. Windows closed. I mean, it doesn't last forever. Some teams, you see a team like the Patriots there do their thing there for a while, and you think that anybody can do that. And that was just a culmination of a lot of things that went right for one team at one time. And Tom Brady was a big part of it. But I mean, still, you're just not going to get that on a regular basis, not without help from the NFL. You're seeing that maybe with them, but it's sad that the NFL even thinks because let's just be honest. I mean, he's a great quarterback. He should be able to. I mean, he'd win a lot of games without their help. Believe me, they would be just fine without their help. But the fact that they've only got one loss and the games look like they do, it's kind of stupid. It's kind of annoying, and it really sucks. It makes it 10 times worse.
It makes it obvious that
it's just like they can't just. It's like every week they got to rake it in, like, oh, we can't miss a week. You can't lose. We gotta do another ratings killer, lose fucking.
Over the past 2 months of the season, we've often brought up how the way the Chiefs get treated. It's like WWE, WWF, and it really is. It's like, do I want to, do you want to watch a Hulk Hogan match to know that he's going to Hulk up and kick out, do the leg drop to win? Did you want to watch a Jeff or John Cena match for 20 years? You know exactly what he's going to do. And you want to watch a Cody Rhodes match now? He's going to win. It's not going to be anything. It's not going to be an interesting way of winning. It's going to be the same shit. They're going to get a late. They're going to get a bunch of non-holding calls that should be called. They're going to get a phantom pass interference. They're going to get some benefit if they keep it close.
Yeah,
and they have. That's all season long. I mean, I used to always look the other way when people say, the refs. Okay, well, the refs, they're all incompetent. They're not. It's so egregious towards one or two teams. It's just terrible.
Well, you're right. It's worse. It's much. See. Here's what I think. Here's how you got to look at it. I think across the league, it's gotten worse. I think it's like it's gone equally amongst all the teams. So the ones that were getting favoritism before, they're just getting a little more favoritism. So now they just stick out like sore thumbs. Like when you're watching those Chiefs games, I mean, like some of this, like when we're talking about holding, holy shit. If you want to watch holding, watch a Chiefs game. it is. There's literal tackling going on the line of scrimmage almost every play. It's like, and the ref is just like, he's looking at a fan. It's like, what's up? Oh, there's my mom. And it's like, and I'm like, dude, this is insanity. And they can't really hide it because it's right in front of the quarterbacks, and that's where the camera's at. So it's like, you watch. Eventually, they're gonna have to like have downfield cameras during the play, so you don't see all the holding going on.
Guys, in as I've said, in Roger Goodell's woke DEI NFL, they don't want Josh Allen as the GOAT. They don't want Brock Purdy as an MVP. They don't want Joe Burrows. They don't want those guys. They don't want Matt Stafford as an MVP.
Yeah.
They want Mahomes to be the guy.
Yeah, or Jackson.
They're going to forget that a means to an end no matter what it takes. And it's obvious to anybody who's objective that's watching it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it is. Yeah. It is.
That's true.
And you have not, and then you have the Swift thing that adds the whole, that's the icing on the cake now, because
Travis Kelce thinks he's the greatest tight end of all time, and he's saying that kind of shit.
Yeah, well,
and as somebody who has him on two fantasy teams, he ain't that guy anymore. He has been brutal this year.
I'll tell you right now, even at his best, though, he wasn't the best ever.
No
way.
No, I've seen better.
Much better. I've seen I know there's a whole bunch of them out there that I would take before I would take Kelce. Kelce was the benefit of the whole Kansas City thing. I mean, a lot of it had to do with that. It wasn't as if he could just go anywhere and do that. That was a lot that had to do with where he was at. He was the beneficiary of a lot of things. Let's just be honest.
The guy from the 49ers is a better player, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
He's just not utilized on the 49ers the way he is, the way that Kelce is. And in my opinion, Kelce isn't even in the same paragraph or sentence or novel with Gronkowski, Dave Casper, Jay Novacek, a whole bunch of other guys, Anthony Gonzalez. No, sorry.
Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
Winslow back in the day, and fucking
caught a lot of passes, but
you didn't even know Ozzie.
Ozzie, yeah.
Fuck out of here with that.
You might have me on that one.
Come on.
He spent the last 5 years of his career catching one pass to keep that streak going.
Dude, he was well. Let me tell you something, dude. He was still great.
Prior to that, he was awesome.
Great. He was awesome.
They gave him a few crutches at the end, but dude, give me a break. When did the Browns get anything? I mean, we suck, dude. Let's just give us a little. We had Ozzie's streak. Woo!
Jerry Sherk.
What do we have in Cleveland? All our great streaks are like fan related, like our fan streak in baseball and shit like that. That's the only thing. Like, what are we known for in the last 40 years in Cleveland besides LeBron? I mean, that's it. I mean, and that's why I think this is the year you guys. Well, not you guys, but Larry, it's the year to get into the Cavs. No LeBron to smell it all up.
I think.
And this is a home. It is a scrappy, fun team, man. It's not like what we've been watching with LeBron.
It reminds me of the 80s teams. With
it does have character like that because there's
Harper and Price and Larry Nance and John Hot Rod Williams.
Hot Rod Williams.
None of those guys. Yep. None of those guys were like superstars on their own, but they all were just a collective.
Yeah.
Really
force.
Deep and solid team, and unfortunately, they ran into the greatest player ever.
Yeah, well, that's our luck. But this is a team that's not up against that. Nope. Like they legitimately have a path, and so they're fun to watch. I mean, like I say, it's just fun to watch a team that plays basketball and it's not all that one-on-one shit constantly like LeBron. I mean, that was that like if you really
want the key,
pounding the ball on the floor. I mean, look, man. When I'm not gonna lie. I was all into the LeBron thing when he was here. We were winning, and I'm a sucker for winning. But I mean, when I look back,
it's a novel concept.
I am. I mean, I've said it before. I'll say it a million times over. I'm a fair weather motherfucker. I literally, that's it. I mean, there's nothing worse than bad baseball, bad basketball, and bad football. Nothing. It's just bad. It's like watching bad sports is just I can't do it.
I just don't like the guy you mentioned because he's not the king, and also I don't dig.
Who's that?
LeBron.
Yeah, he flops. Flopping. I never really pay attention to the guy
Flop.
until that guy flopping bitches and whines. And his school that he put together was a that's another story. Hey, did you guys watch any of the? I know, Dan, since you've got the job now doing the piece for the football and the college football. Notice I am wearing. This is not a Jets hat. This is Thundering Herd Marshall SBC champions the other night, and immediately lost their coach. But my buddy Blake, the Butcher Miller, down at Clemson with ACC championship the other day. Did you guys watch any of the football this past weekend of college?
A little bit.
I watched a little, but not a lot.
I can't remember who I watched. Yeah. I can't remember who
I had a show. I had a show to do. That's what happened.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
The end of the Clemson game with who were they playing? Because they made it into the playoffs. There was down to Alabama and a team that Clemson beat in the on the last second field goal, 56-yard, whatever it was, 52-yard field goal. They're up 21-7 or whatever it was, 30. Next thing I know, it's they have to come down to a last-minute walk-off field goal by Clemson's kicker. Who the hell were they playing?
Let me look it up.
The team made it into the SBC playoff, though, whatever it was. I can't think of who it was. A great game.
Give me just a second.
SMU. So
yes. Yep. Great game. And they got that spot they were talking about with the playoffs. There was some talk about them getting bumped if they lost. They had to keep it close, and they were getting it wasn't close, and they closed at the end, almost pulled that out, and they bumped Alabama out of getting there.
Yay.
Yeah, I tell you what, I watched. I ended up watching that Georgia Tech game, and what they came back and tied it up and I went to bed. And when I woke up, there was 8 overtimes in that game.
Oh my God, I didn't see it.
That was insane.
8 overtime. I'm like, thank God I went to bed. Holy shit! You get stuck in one of those games watching it, you're up till 2 a.m. Anyways, yeah. What about real quick? So I thought it was interesting how Ohio State loses to Michigan, and now they don't play during the championship week now, right?
They're in the playoffs.
Yeah, but okay. So how does this work now? So is there a championship game for the Big Ten?
It already happened.
Okay.
Or Oregon beat Penn State. Penn State got the nod over Ohio State because Ohio State lost. They got.
So this is my okay. So there you go. Therein lies my question. So, and I know this is conspiracy theory, Brian 101. I don't give a shit. I want to ask it anyway. So I'm watching the Michigan game, and my head was spinning that. Oh fuck! And my head. I'm just gonna keep talking. And my head was spinning the entire game, and I could not understand why we just kept running it into the strength of that whole defense. I could not understand it. And one of the things that really bothered me about it was the fact that it was these kids are involved in these games. I don't care so much about the pro athlete as much, but these players, a lot of these guys signed up just to play that Michigan game because they haven't beat them. And these coaches, to me, ruined that game. I mean, that's plain as simple as the way I looked at it. So that being said, I keep asking myself, why? Like, why did it go that way? So then I'm like, wow, isn't this an amazing situation how they get a bye the next week? Right? They just automatically now get a bye, where if they win, now they got to play Oregon next week. And whether they win or lose that game, they would still be in the playoffs, just like they are whether they beat or lost to Michigan. But now they don't got to play Oregon once or maybe twice. So I'm like thinking to myself, like,
did they lose that game on purpose?
Holy shit, dude! Because that is just my warped thinking, because it just seems almost like suicide to lose to Michigan 4 years in a row. However, if you win the championship, no way they can fire you. So it's like I can't wrap my mind around that game the way that game went. Dude. I mean, I still cannot. They didn't lose the game like any other way I've ever watched them lose to Michigan before. They literally had the dominating team on the field. I think it was even obvious while the game was being played that we were better than them, and we just kept doing the same ridiculous. Like you have all this
Nice
greatness
plays.
around you, and you just take these 3 players and use them 3 same guys over and over again into their wall, and that was your game plan, and you wouldn't veer from it. When do you do? I don't know.
You know, after the Michigan game ended, of course everybody was pissed. I was pissed. You know, and a story came over and it said, losing to Michigan may not have been the worst thing ever, and here's why. And it talked about how now they wouldn't have to play in the Big Ten championship, so they got a bye week.
Yeah.
They're guaranteed a home game against a SEC or a warm weather team in December in Columbus. That's a bonus. And a chance of beating Oregon on a neutral site after you basically took them all the way down to the wire in Oregon in week 2. You know, all of a sudden you're rested. They got to play the Big Ten title game against Penn State. You know, Oregon's Oregon. They won, but all of a sudden you get a little bit of a reprieve. You get a favorable matchup in the first round, and then you get
your microphone's your microphone's cutting in and out pretty bad.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that was good right there. Whatever you just did, that was great.
You got me?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. You know, you got a favorable matchup in round 1. You got a familiar opponent in round 2. You know,
it's starting to kick out again, dude.
Oh shit!
Why is it doing that? Why?
I don't know. I don't know.
All right.
Well, anyways.
Yeah, but they did. They got all kinds of. I mean, it was. It's weird, dude. Let's just say that. It is. It's like, they did not look like they were trying to win that game.
No.
I just almost can't believe I'm saying it. It seems unfathomable to me. And here's why I think that way. So I was also listening to all these knuckleheads on the fucking. I was talking to this with Jeff on Thursday last week. I told him, I was like, these fucking knuckleheads that do these radio shows for Cleveland. I'm like, I really don't. I'm not sure like how you become qualified for that. All these dudes are saying, they're going, well, I mean, maybe it's time to just, that we don't really make the Michigan game that important. Maybe, and I was like, then you don't get it, and you have no business being a fucking fan of Ohio State. That's simply how that works. Like, it's literally like, we're not winning now. See, this is the most loser mentality, in my opinion, I can possibly fathom. We're not winning the game right now. We've lost 4 years in a row. So instead of just saying, fuck you, like Harbaugh, as much as I hate his fucking guts, did, and made it a point to dominate us and succeeded, just like that guy did. We're gonna just roll over and go, oh, this game is no longer important now. That's the answer. Ooh, dude, it fucking made me so mad. And I'm like, you just don't get it. You don't get it. If you don't understand that there's a built-in championship that takes place in Ohio State every year. That's just the way it is. And I told you my camera's fucking up. That's just going to be the way it is. And it's a built-in championship. It takes place every year in Ohio State. It's just the way it is. It's the way it is. And there's no, you don't have to get it. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to understand that. Like, but you do have to understand that if you're going to be the head coach of Ohio State one day, or if that's your aspiration, that's part of it. And when you lose that game, it's not like now. See, now they're like, oh, because it's okay because the championship playoffs now, is still in place. You can still lose to Michigan. Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And then it really is bridging over to, and I'll tell you, if Ryan Day had the team playing, I can't imagine they would play half-hearted against Michigan in hopes of doing better in the FBS playoffs. I mean, that's
it just seems impossible.
They might have turned out, that's the silver lining, but they still.
It seems impossible. You're right. I agree, man. But dude, they just sucked so bad. That was the worst. It was so bad. It was so bad. It was like,
what makes it worse was the week before they made it a point to embarrass Indiana.
Yeah, who's been really good.
Yeah, they rubbed it in.
Yeah, dude.
Like, yeah, we're still the big bag of Ohio State.
And you're best.
And then basically go into and you're at home, and you basically just laid a huge egg.
Your offensive line was garbage. I don't know. How is that? How does Ohio State have a garbage offensive line? Okay. I got a question for you, real quick, about Ohio State, and we can move on from this. But all I keep hearing is, and God bless these two guys. And Urban Meyer and Tressel. I love Jim Tressel to death. Those are coaches. Tressel is a coach to me. Okay, that's like my guy. This is the most talented Ohio State team ever. All right. This is all they've been saying. And so I've been watching this team all year, and I'm trying to figure that out. I'm like, how in the fuck is this the most talented team? And here's why I say that. The line has been suspect all year. I'll just say it like that. Okay. And Michigan just knocked them all over the place. It wasn't even like, that was embarrassing. And then that we don't have who's our dominant running back? When did we stop producing those guys where they just come out and just dominate? We don't have that guy no more. They dominate against these little fuck teams and they run them up. But when we need them, again, we don't have that anymore. What we do have, though, are these incredible wide receivers, like these guys that are like off the chart college wide receivers. So what do you do against Michigan? What's the smart thing to do? Run the ball into a wall over and over again. It's what the fuck? I mean, like, I don't know. I just can't figure that out. And just like, and to do it in the second half, like you don't even change. You don't do anything different. It sucked ass. So now I'm supposed to fucking watch them again throughout the rest of the year, knowing that they sucked that fucking game like that, and be like, oh, it's okay, Ryan Day. Listen, Ryan Day, dude, but look what he does on all the other games. Dude, he's got the most loaded team every year. Like, you will win just by putting that team on the field almost every game. You're playing against way less. I mean, college isn't set up like anything else. It's not fair. I mean, it's fucking retarded half the time. You watch it just to see how many touchdowns they're gonna throw. It's crazy, man, that the people are giving Day a pass. I've been a Ryan Day fan up until now, and I say, look, dude, you choked it. You choked it. You win the championship, you're going to buy yourself another year no matter what. There's no doubt about it. They can't fire you. But you don't beat Michigan next year, I don't give a fuck what you do. They're going to fucking heave you, and by rightfully so, get the fuck out. If you can't beat them, get the fuck out. That's the end of that. That's my rant.
If Ohio State does run the table in the playoffs and win, we are going to be. There's going to be a lot of happy people, and we'll buy Day another year. But there's always going to be that but. Yeah, you won the national championship, but you still couldn't beat that team up north.
Yeah, and the butt comes from them fucks, and that's what hurts. That's what sucks. You got to hear those guys go, "Hey, but you could beat us. Fuck you." Well, yeah, fuck that shit. That's how this works. That's how sports works. That's what people don't get. When people are like, "Well, then you don't get it, dude." That's that. Sports wasn't designed to make you feel good when you lose. It wasn't ever. None of that was ever in place. It's like, when you lose, you hurt. It's supposed to hurt when you lose.
Well, the other problem with all that, with Dan will use, and I agree. And by the way, Dan, great shirt, great UFO shirt.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
I saw Nick Saban said something the other day, and it may have been relative to Alabama or whoever getting in and out. And they're saying, with the development of the FBS playoffs and teams so-called benefiting maybe from losing and having to go on and avoid playing a tougher team and still making the playoffs, there's going to be a sentiment after a while that some of these teams that are the power teams are not going to want to play a tough schedule anymore. They're going to weaken their schedule a little bit.
Well,
it's not going to matter.
And because any losses
just come in at the 10th seed, and
it just starts to become too subjective about who gets in and who doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the SEC teams already kind of play a weak schedule, a weak non-conference schedule, anyways. Yeah. And that was the knock on them. Like Alabama would play Georgia State in the first week, and Georgia Southern in the second week, and McNeese State in the third week, and people were complaining about Ohio State's schedule, and it's like, and people were wondering why they were playing all these weak teams. It's like, well, you're trying to win games, you're trying to look good, you're trying to, in college, if you blow out a team, it looks good. and gets the national media their attention. Oh, we like this guy. They beat them 56-0. Never mind the fact that they're an FCS team or a Division II team, or they're in the MAC. I mean, that's all that really matters. And the playoffs were supposed to change that. They were supposed to make it so the non-conference schedule was going to be a little tougher. You're going to have to prove yourself, everything else. But now, like, there's only one undefeated team, right? Oregon's the only undefeated team in college this year.
Yeah.
We got teams with 3 losses in the playoffs. And before you lost 3 games, and you were done. You had no shot. That was it.
Yeah.
You're playing in the Chick-fil-A Bowl or whatever, the Blue Bonnet Bowl or whatever the fuck else,
Right.
So
yeah, man. I don't know, dude. I just think that like it was a very interesting thing to how it all played out, and I was like, you almost get rewarded to lose this game in the big picture here. It just seemed kind of crazy in a way, but whatever. I mean, I don't think they're going to fucking win it all anyways. I was going to be.
I don't either.
I think they're going to choke at some point here, and I think they have the team that could beat any one of these teams. I just don't think they're going to do it. I just don't think that fucking Ryan Day has the fucking nuts to fucking go through the whole thing and run the gauntlet. I don't think he's got them. I don't think he's got the stones. Dude, do you remember how Herb would be on the sideline and it looked like he was going to just fucking keel over and die right there on the sideline, like every game? The stress and the shit that would just take that dude he looked, I mean, I would think Herb was going to die a lot. I mean, I was like, that guy don't look good. He don't look good at all. And, that's how that game was. That's what made Tressel to me so great. Tressel never looked stressed ever. He never looked stressed. He had the vest on. He was like, I'm ready. Let's play. And he just played 9-3 games. And I was fine with that. We won them, most of them, and that was fucking cool with me, man. I'd
rather win ugly than lose pretty.
But I love Tressel. I loved him. He was just like the epitome of just his way. And that was cool, man.
He was the modern day Woody Hayes.
Yeah, dude. He was
without the temper.
Yeah, dude. He was cool, man. What they got him for was the worst, man. That was that whole tattoo fucking shit. That sucked ass, man. It really did. That sucked. And now look at what's going on. The fuck.
Oh yeah.
So crazy.
Explained to my kids the other day about Woody Hayes and time. What was it? He and Bo Schembechler.
Yeah.
I said, Woody Hayes. I mean, he could not tolerate losing to anybody, especially on Michigan. And so his career took the end of his career. Sadly, was when he punched a player. That's that was the end of it.
I think he did a lot of that. I think he just one time got busted for it.
Same thing with Bobby Knight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He said the wrong thing to the wrong person, and it cost him. And he had been doing that his whole career.
Yeah. Those guys did it a different way back then, but they didn't tolerate losing. We talked about pro. We talked about college. I know, Dan, you put something up about this. The Avon Eagles pulled out a Division II state championship the other day, and I was happy to see that because my oldest daughter just left Avon after, I think, 6-7 years as a teacher at the high school there, and she's also been their head gymnastics coach for the last 6-7 years. Gave that up to Magnificat.
Congratulations.
So I know Mike Elder. I was happy to see Avon finally get past Holben and end up in the championship and win.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was. I love to see that.
It's crazy to think that it was 2011 when Avon got to the state finals the last time, and it seems like they were always right there, but they had never been able to get past Holben or Massillon. The couple times Highland got them in the regional final. It was always something.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up.
They were always at the doorstep, but they never were able to knock that door down.
Yeah.
And it was great to finally see them vanquish Holben and vanquish them the way that they did and finally get on that stage and finish the job. I've known Mike Elder for a long time. I actually covered his first football game ever at Avon. He's a class guy. He's a little intense, but he is a class guy. He runs a great program. I'm really, really happy for him. I'm really, really happy for those kids. And I'm a Lorain County guy. It's great to see a state championship come back to Lorain County.
Yeah, for sure, man. That is. That's awesome. That really is a good point.
What I'd like to see is, I would like to see Avon now play against some of the big boys.
Well, they did. Well, they played Glenville and Kent McKinley this year.
I understand, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Now
the wrestling, the track, and the gymnastics are Division I. I'd like to see the football now go that direction. They certainly have the enrollment to justify it.
It's just listen. It's probably just a matter of time before the NIL hits high school. Just give it a matter of time. Seriously, once it hits collegiate anything, and that where it's done through a school, what makes that school different than a high school now? I mean, the way this thing's going to be set up, it's going to bleed right into the next thing. As long as there's somebody willing to pay money to somebody to go to that school, and why wouldn't they at this point? The winning the state championship is big in a lot of places. It is,
Speaking of that, since you brought up NIL, Big Bri, I do a little bit of that with my youngest daughters out at Marshall. Are you guys familiar with the 2025 6 changes that are going into effect with the NCAA with the lawsuit, with the expansion of the number of spots on rosters by sport?
No.
Okay, so for instance, with Division I football, I believe the current roster number is 85. I believe it's going up to either 105 or 115.
Wow.
There's been a dramatic increase in all of the sports as the number of roles. Now, I don't know, you guys, since you brought up NIL, you guys familiar with how the NIL kind of works?
I mean, I
a little bit, yeah.
I think I know a little bit. I'm sure there's more to it.
So, for anybody who's listening, I mean, again, I've been doing this. My daughter's been getting some small deals. She's on the tail end of this all coming in. She's a fifth-year graduate with a little bit eligibility left. So it's running out on her. But you had basically 3 ways of doing NIL. You had the Livy Dunn way, which was the LSU gymnast who got her own deals on her own. That's one bucket. Then you had the NIL money that was going to the schools. So like at Marshall, it's the Thunder Trust. At Clemson, it's the Tiger Trust, whatever they call it. Ohio State probably has the Buckeye Trust. And this is money that's, I think, businesses and sponsors and things to put in, and they can divvy that up as they want to.
The school can divvy it up?
Yeah, well, who's running that trust for the school, yes, whatever that entity is. Now, the third bucket is going to be from the NCAA lawsuit is they're going to get money that's going to go to each school, and it's going to be basically if your football team, which is probably going to be most of the big programs, does 80% of your revenue of your sports for your school, they're going to get 80% of the 20 million or whatever that's going to be allotted. Then you're going to have like a GM there who's going to then decide where that bucket of money, how that's divvied up. And the expansion with these new roster spots, basically those extra 20 or 30 kids who are going to be able to be eligible for a Division I football, they're going to get basically a waiver on their classes. So it's going to take what used to be a walk-on and basically give them a roster spot waiver on classes, but they won't be eligible like that core 85 for that NCAA lawsuit money.
Wow. So you're saying about, well, no, it is. I can see what you're saying now. There's 3 different pools of money, basically.
Yes.
And the first one's really not a pool of money. That's just pulling for your own sponsors.
That's
or
your own. You go make we 3 go out. We make our own deal directly with a company that wants to sponsor us.
So basically, let's just say a school has 30 million in their little fund that you were talking. The second. So that's all figured out during the recruiting process then, basically. So they're saying, let's just say we'll just use 30 million as the example. So they're saying, hey, we're going to get this guy. What are we willing to part with in NIL money to try to lure this guy in as a recruit? Can they do that? Is that how that works? I mean,
I don't know how it is in the recruiting part of it. I do know though, I think because probably, and Dan, you mentioned a team with Southern SMU that was playing Clemson. Okay, yep. So I think when I was watching that game, I want to say that they had 11 guys on the starting roster that are portal transfers.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you use some of that bucket for the portal transfers, and you use some of that money to also for retention. What am I worth to you not to transfer? You know,
South Carolina just had a person go into the transfer portal and decided to stick around because
they
got paid.
Danny. Yeah,
Yep.
right.
And that's one of the that's that second bucket in all likelihood that they've decided. But I think they're very secret about who gets what. They don't publish who gets what deal. And but again, I'm assuming that basketball and football are the majority of that for all, certainly the bigger schools. And again, the third bucket that's going to be introduced is going to be proportional to the amount of revenue the sports brings in. So, men's wrestling programs and like men's gymnastics, but men's wrestling programs have been drying up all over the country. Yeah. Those are going to expand slightly, but even when they do, they'll expand in terms of roster spots, but they're not likely going to make a lot of money on that bucket of money. The second or the third buckets. And most of them weren't. The synchronized swim team's not going to make much money either. Nor the rowing team or the lacrosse team or any of those sports, but it's going to be predominantly, your football, your basketball, maybe a few other dollars get in there. But it really is complicated. It's interesting. There's a lot of opportunity now, and there'll be expansion of people's kids to actually make Division I rosters. It's going to be a little easier than it's been for a while.
Well, go ahead. If we look at now the way that they're running college football programs, Andrew Luck just got hired at Stanford as their general manager.
I saw that.
And Bill Belichick is about to become the new head coach of North Carolina.
That amazing?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yes.
He lost his mind? He's going to go coach college? Yep. I didn't even hear that. No, that's crazy because what a different thing that is. That's a whole monster in itself, just coaching college fucking ball with the recruiting and all the shit that goes along with it, man. Just send your recruiters out and just sit at home and wait.
Well, you make real money as a college guy. And you guys remember Al Groh. Al Groh was a Jets head coach and he was a Browns head, and he left it for, I think it was Virginia.
Yep, I remember that.
Because you can be, like I'm sure Belichick wants, absolute control.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
He'll get it.
Yeah.
But I seen they're basically giving him like the reins, and he's almost going to be like his own, basically like he was with the Patriots, like his own general manager.
Yep.
Kind of picking and choosing and who gets what money and who gets this. And
he's a really good coach, but he had Tom Brady. Bottom line.
So that's a recruiting piece. You get to play for Bill Belichick, regardless how you feel about him. That's.
Yeah, you're right.
He's got 6 of these.
I know, dude. And sometimes that team she scratched your head year after year after year. How many Super Bowls were? How many Super Bowls? It just seemed like, God, there's like a huge stretch of our life that we had to watch that damn team fucking year in and year out. It sucked. It really did. And I like Tom Brady. I tell you, I did. I gave in to him is what happened with Tom Brady. There was a year finally where I was like, all right, dude, you're the best.
I was the same way. I was the same way. I couldn't stand him.
Done. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done fighting it. I'm done fighting with you. Some of the shit that dude would pull out of his ass, and I'd be like, fuck you, man. I'm done with you, dude. I can't watch you no more.
Now, can you imagine, as good as the Steelers have been, can you imagine if the Patriots were in your division, or it was the Bengals doing that?
Oh, yeah.
I got to tell you, as a Jets fan, I had to watch those guys kick the shit out of the Jets twice a year.
Oh.
And, there's a lot of Jets fans who still go back and they curse Mo Lewis for knocking Drew Bledsoe out of a game and rupturing his spleen or whatever he did. And then here comes Brady, and he never left the field.
Left the fucking field. You're right.
They get the Mo Lewis effect.
Oh, there's the other thing too. There's the Bill Parcells retiring. Bill Belichick head coach, and Belichick saying, "Oh, wait a minute, I want to go to the Patriots."
Oh yeah, I'm done. I quit.
I quit.
I was just kidding. I need an annulment.
Oh yeah. Well, you guys know Belichick. He did one day with the Jets, resigned on a napkin.
Yep.
I'm out.
I'm
out of here, man.
Let's talk about UFO. I saw UFO guys back I was in high school. I want to say it was either 78 or 79. I saw them only one time. That was at Music Hall, and it was a co-headline, AC/DC with Bon Scott.
Oh, that's a good
show. Their Highway to Hell tour with UFO, and both bands were fucking great.
Hell yeah, that's a
They
pretty
great.
That's
I
one
think
of
I
those.
told you, I never went to see AC/DC after that because I figured I can't after Bon Scott, but I'm going to watch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like the new guy, but it's not Bon Scott.
Oh no, you're right. And I love Brian Johnson, but I see they're coming, and I see the video. Listen, I love AC/DC, dude. I mean, absolutely, always been one of my favorite bands like in the world. But I'm watching them on that video up there, and I'm like, it looks like a Saturday Night Live skit, or it looks kind of like a. It don't look like this is like really happening. I mean, except for Brian Johnson, he still comes out and he still does Brian Johnson pretty well. But fucking, what's Angus doing up there, dude? That ain't fucking Angus Young, dude. I mean, it is like a slow motion. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just you can't help but laugh. It was so.
It's funny you bring that up because I really thought, and I think I maybe mentioned this last season with you guys. Guys, I really thought there'd be a time with these bands of the 60s and 70s that they would end up on PBS, like on those money when they do the week, the annual fundraising week, and they do like Legends of Doo-Wop or Happy Together, the Legends of 60s. And you know, the guys from the Turtles, whoever's left there, comes out and does 2 songs with a backup band and they walk off. Or I really thought that these bands would go that route, or they'd have I don't want to say integrity and walk off. But it's funny how people are all over Kiss for like, those guys retire. And I see all these other bands that people will absolutely pay ungodly amounts for. There's like one guy left in the band. And, you know, people ask me if you're going to see the Rolling Stones. What the fuck am I going to see Rolling Stones for? It's at least Ringo Starr used to do like Ringo Starr and Friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't say it. I'm the Beatles. You know, these guys, it's 2 guys with 47 backup players behind them. Is that really seeing the band? Because there's one guy who's 900 years old, staggers out.
I'm with you on this. I'll be honest with you. I'm totally with you on this. I think that I can't see the old guys doing this. Let's just be honest. Okay. AC/DC was one of the most incredible live bands. They were just second to nobody. Really. I mean, like if you told me AC/DC is my favorite live band, you would at least say, well, I don't maybe agree with you, but I understand why you say that. Yeah, they're just that good. And Angus was 80% of the whole show. I mean, watching that dude's energy levels blew your mind. You're like, you're just blown. Your mind was blown. You're like, there he goes again. There he goes again. There he goes again. And it just never ever stopped. And the whole time he's just one of the best guitar players ever while he's doing it. So that was what made AC/DC so great. And I'm watching this video of him, and I'm like, dude, come on, man. Like, you got to stop, dude. You got to stop. I mean, whatever bad money things you made, management you made, it sucks, but you got to stop, dude. Go into a nursing home.
I'll agree with you. It was him. I wouldn't say 80% because, again, Bon Scott was a uniquely, I mean, he was front. He was that. They were 2 of them up front. At that time, you know, the only guy whose voice breathed more fire than his in that era was Noddy Holder of Slade. And
Slade.
Noddy Holder. In fact, Noddy Holder was turned down as you guys probably know, he turned down the spot with AC/DC, and then they found Brian Johnson. Noddy Holder said no originally to that. Wow. But his voice is, you put Bon Scott's on steroids 6 times over, and you got Noddy Holder's. I don't know how that's even human, that voice. But he was a different. I mean, when they talk about guys of that era, like a Paul Rogers, I saw Paul Rogers at Bad Company. I put me to sleep. Bon Scott was and Angus Young together on stage was fun. I mean,
no doubt, man. I would love to see that.
It was like watching Cheap Trick in the 70s. They were a machine.
Yeah, another band. When you got energy, you got people who never stop, and it just changes the game. I mean, people who change the game. Like that just goes for local bands too. It's a good lesson. Go watch Made in America. Go watch Dan's band. They got a front man who literally, the fucking guy doesn't stand still for more than 1 second. I mean, like, he's there and then gone. And then once he starts really get going, by the end of the day, he's running around the whole bar. He's, and he's got like this operatic voice that he's just really great. But But Bernie makes it fun because he's running by you. He's all of a sudden he's got the microphone. He's right next to me. I mean, I'll be sitting there drinking a beer at the bar, and all of a sudden I'll look over and there he is singing the song next to me. And so
with his arm around you.
That changes the game, right? Even these local bands can learn a lot from that, because there's a lot to be said about not just standing up there. Go watch the fucking Manimals, dude. There's just look at some of the pictures from that show at the Rock Hall, where that one picture is just so fucking badass, where you're both like low to the ground. You and Vanek both are like way down on the ground.
I think my right knee gave out. That's what happened.
Yeah, lying. Dude, you guys, hey man, you guys put on a fucking hellacious stage show. You got the Wolves behind you, but still, you didn't let the Wolves do all the talking. You guys were out there, dude. You got great stage presence, and people can learn a lot from that shit. It takes that. Like, that's what it's about. That's what it's fucking about, is doing that shit, right?
Sincerely, I thank you so much for saying that. And I have to tell you, the difference now is I'm like a what do you call 72 Hemi Cuda. I'm not a daily driver anymore. I can't do. I talked to my buddy Jamie at midnight, or at Lenore from midnight, Jamie, and I say, buddy, the difference is now, he can do it 5 nights in a row. I can't. I just don't.
But you let it all hang out that one night, though, man. That's for sure, dude.
You're too kind. I appreciate that, but I have to tell you, to your point, I had to think long and hard. Is anybody going to accept, me at 63 years old? I like to think I'm not the typical 63, but at the same time, I didn't want to be one of those. Like, I don't know if you guys saw, there's video out of Iggy Pop at some live show, and it is horrifying. He looks like E.T. It's really fucking strange. Now, granted, he's got 20 years on me or whatever, 18 years. But to your point, I never wanted to compromise something and be like those. I don't want to be critical of bands who just keep rolling along. But again, I've said I got 6 fans, and they seem to don't mind accepting me at this point.
He sold 6.
And I covered up with a couple other really good guys who cover up for me.
Well, now I got to fix this thing since no one's going to see this probably. Anyways, I'm just going to do it.
Speaking of sad live that's old, I know it's not metal, but have you ever seen any of the Frankie Valli videos?
Yes.
Dude.
Oh, he's still doing it too?
Well, they're trotting him out on stage. He's lip syncing.
Oh.
And he looks like he's like Weekend at Bernie's. Like, he looks like
they're propping him up on.
Yeah, it's sad. It's scary. It's like it's bizarre.
Yeah.
His eyes don't blink.
No.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah. It looks like an animatronic.
Yes.
Honest to God, you're right, Dan. It looks like you go into the Disney place with the Hall of Presidents, but those look alive. He looks like his eyes don't blink. His mouth has the mouth goes up like a marionette, and a sound comes out.
Like somebody going.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
And on a stick and pulling his mouth down.
And the song sounds just like it did in '78 or even before. It's like, there's no
62.
way. Yeah, there's no way. And he's got all these young guys behind him doing this, doo-wop shit and whatnot, and they're basically carrying the whole.
Yeah. Well, it's them, and then there's just him.
Yeah, and
he gotta check it out.
Waddles on stage and puts the mic up and goes.
But you know what? Though, part of it is, I mean, to say it simple, there's like a huge gaping hole still from the lack of great new music. So it allows for all this old shit to just keep fucking going. It's like an old bonfire that won't go out. The coals just keep smoldering, but it ain't got flames no more. It's just coals smoldering, and that's what it's like. And because there's just not a huge amount of great music. Like, there was so many good bands back in the day. Now I just don't even think people living in this time, young at this time, can agree. There's just not a lot of great bands. It's just they don't exist. Like, name them. You know what I mean? And when you can name bands of the day, but like, who's got any sustained decades of anything anymore? Who? Really, I mean, that's great. Who? They don't exist. Like, the Foo Fighters put together a nice long stretch of success there, but That's it. I mean, that's what they're what 25 years old or whatever. I mean, I don't know. So
Queens of the Stone Age, maybe, but even them,
yeah, there's really
I'd say I'd say Clutch, but Clutch isn't mainstream enough.
No.
But Clutch is close. I mean, I'll say that at least they have a. I mean, but like Zeppelin-ish. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm talking like those bands. Like I mean, think about all of them, dude. There's Zeppelin. There's Aerosmith. There's
Sabbath.
Yeah, there's none of them bands.
No,
exist.
Purple.
Metallica.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, Metallica is like, I mean, like, but they're old now.
They're in their 60s.
They're not. They're still doing it too long. You know what I mean?
Yep. Dan, I played with Clutch at the Odeon back in 2000. Cool guy.
Oh shit!
Awesome.
Yeah, it was a really weird. It was a really weird pairing.
I think
on paper, you know,
I can see that being
And what was funny was, you know, the Odeon had the dressing room was upstairs, stage right as you're looking at the stage, the main dress. You go up there. So it's funny because we came down and the crowd at first, they just didn't dig us. Because, you know, Clutch is a very non-image conscious band. Yeah. They're just a heavy groove band.
Absolutely.
And of course, you know, we looked a little different than them. And we came out, though, we were upstairs and they were cool. They were smoking a lot of weed. You know, so I was trying to stay away and not get any peripheral, what we call secondary smoke, because I'm locked in. I that's not my thing, but you know, good for them. But what was funny was we start playing, the audience is like at first, like it's a lot of younger guys wearing flannel shirts or whatever. It just was not their scene to start with when we start going. But I look up to the left, those guys are all sitting on the stairs. I see the door open up, and it was like Spicoli's van in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The door opens to the upstairs. Smoke comes out. They're backlit. They're all sitting, and they're going like this while we're playing. I look over. Yeah, guys, they totally dug us. They were really cool guys. And I'd say by halfway point through our set, you know, crowd started to warm up.
You want them over, yeah, man.
But they were cool guys. They were, I mean, heavy groove. They were a cool band. I like.
Oh yeah, they're great live.
I think that Elephant something had just
Elephant Riders.
Elephant Riders. I think that was the record
album.
Yeah,
they're great.
Yeah, they were heavy. They were fun guys, man. They were cool. It was a cool show.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You're right. Yeah. I tell you, the band that I thought would go on to be bigger than they were, and it's one of my all-time favorite albums, was when I heard the Cult Love album in '86, I think it was. That's still, I think, a masterpiece. And they had such a unique sound. And then Rick Rubin got them, and you know, they got accused of kind of being turned AC/DC when they changed the production for the Sonic Temple and the Love Removal Machine and that stuff. And those are still great. They just weren't quite as unique as that Love album.
Yeah. And
then when Stone Temple Pilots came out, I think they were mainstream, certainly more than Clutch. I think Scott Weiland's one of the. He might be the last true rock star.
Yeah. I mean,
he went out the rock star way. You know, there's all these other assholes that love to glorify their drug use. You know, it's like a guy who says he's going to commit suicide. I was going to do this. People are going to commit suicide. They go do it. Scott Weiland went out. He was a rock star. Poor guy. He went out like a rock star. You knew that guy was going to go out the way he went out. He
man.
He didn't do it to embellish so he could write a book years later and say, hey, I did these, you know. The guy just lived the life. But I thought he was a super talented guy.
He was. It was a good band.
Yeah.
I thought the whole band was good. I liked him.
30 years old too.
I liked him.
What was what did you say, Dan?
Scott Weiland was born in Shaker Heights.
Oh, was he really? I didn't know that.
Yep.
My sister just loaned me a book about him to read. I haven't read it yet. Yeah, I thought that guy was a cool guy. You know, I don't know. It's about talent, and go down. It seems like all the talented musicians want to play country music. There's nothing wrong with playing country music. I just thought that fad, the bro country fad, would have run its course the way hair metal ran its course, and it just seems to keep rolling along.
Yeah, and there's something to be said too about the fact that, you know, I mean, like, I think about this often. Like, a lot of the music that was created, and a lot of those bands, you know, the producers don't ever get enough credit by the mainstream. The people that know music understand what the producer does, but I think that mainstream never really gets it. They look at the band as what the band is. They have no idea the producer. I mean, AC/DC. Oh my God, Mutt Lange, what he did with AC/DC, and the same thing with what Rick Rubin does with a lot of these bands. And what I mean, a lot of these, you get to these guys where they change what you're doing in a way where they bring more out of you. I remember Brian Johnson talking about Mutt Lange on Back in Black, and he was like, man, he was telling me, man, shit is like, I was like, fuck, man, I was like, I can't do it, man. He's like, you can fucking do it, man. And all those screams that he was doing on that album, he was like, I never did shit like that before, dude. But a good producer realizes like what that song needs or whatever, changes that whole song, and then all of a sudden, these producers do a lot. I mean, the Beatles, all of them had top-notch production. Otherwise,
George, what's his name?
George
Martin. Martin.
Right. Like it takes all that. Like it's not just coming from these bands. I mean, and I think that because there's no money, the money is not there like it used to be to go out, and a lot of that's gone. I mean, I just don't think you have so much of that anymore, where you have these phenomenal producers, because there's no money in this business anymore. So I just don't think that you have it. It starts. It affects everything. You know what I'm saying? So I think what the music business has really become is just a live event type of a thing now, where, are you what kind of a live band are you basically, and can you draw fans to a festival? I mean, that's kind of what live has become. I mean, it's kind of sucks really nowadays, because these bands have to rely so much on the live. And now you're seeing so many of these festivals, which I gotta be honest with you, like when I was younger, I didn't mind festivals, but fuck those festivals, dude. I can't do that.
Oh, I can't do it.
Fuck that shit.
I can't do it.
Yeah, and they're fun. I mean, when you're younger, like they're set up nice. They do a good job with them, but it's just too much. I mean, I want to go see a band, and then I want to go home.
Exactly. I hear you, brother. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I might be a little different on that one, because I don't know if there's not all that many bands that I'm really dying to see a whole set from. But
I'll tell you what, go local. Go see some of these local fucking bands, dude. They're great, man. Yeah. They are.
I listen to your show every week, Big Brian. I learn about a lot of them, and they really are. But with the festivals, like I remember a time I went on to the one, I don't know what it's called now, the Rock on the Range. It used to be called. It's the one down
Sonic.
Sonic. Yeah, I remember going one year, and I got to watch 3 songs from Lamb of God. Okay. Go watch 3 or 4 songs from Ghost, because they were still up and coming kind of at that time. In This Moment, they had their cool thing. So you go see a few bands. I saw Volbeat. I liked Volbeat a lot.
Yeah, I saw them there too.
I thought they were going to be. I mean, in Europe, Volbeat. When we played Rockin', they were one of the headlining nights, and Hank Sherman from Merciful Fate played the set with them. And I will tell you, Volbeat, they were fucking great.
Yeah, when they came out, I agree with you. I thought they were going to be a lot bigger than they were too. They had some great fucking riffing going on, dude.
Yeah.
They had some heavy shit going on in their music, and he had a cool voice. So it was. He was like Hetfield light. He had that. He did a lot of at the end of.
With a better voice. I mean, James Hetfield, I admire what he's done, but I mean, Michael, whatever his name is, I forget, from Volbeat. I mean, his range is pretty strong.
Oh, and, yeah. I'm just talking about he adopted a lot of that Hetfieldisms, those. Yeah. There's a lot of guys that do it, dude. I mean, dude, I even hear the dude from REO Speedwagon before Hetfield was even singing. If you hear Keep On Running, is that what it is? Is that REO Speedwagon song?
Ronan, I think his name is.
Yeah. If you listen to that whole song, dude, Hetfield's that whole song. He's like, and then keep on running. Dude, I just wanted to point that out. Completely pointless topic, but I thought it was funny. So there you go.
They were really in my wheelhouse. They were one of those bands that would do any of those bands that did 72-minute versions of their big song. Wasn't really something they lose my attention. I guess my attention span was too short for that stuff.
I hear you, man. But I just, you know,
riding the storm out for 75 minutes, where the fuck they played. You know, how many times can you repeat that line? I mean, you know, I was a Kiss fan, but I didn't want to hear a 45-minute version of Deuce.
No, and Kiss was good for not playing too long of songs. They were great for that. They blew right through there. They had enough songs to play. Especially, could you imagine a catalog like that? You know, like when you're picking through your catalog and you have all those songs, but you have to play Rock and Roll All Night again. It's like, oh my God, I gotta
play Rock City.
The thing about it is, though, what's sad with this, since I mentioned them, and since you bring that up with the catalog, the sad thing about that is that their music is not aged well for me, because part of it is because the live show became so predictable. You knew exactly. It was like when we talk about the wrestling matches, the Hogan, Cena, whatever match. You knew exactly. Well, they
didn't change nothing up. They just kept going back to the same old tricks. Always.
It was the same scripted. You know, Paul Stanley, God bless him, but he was going to do. I remember when he used to actually smash guitars. Not, you know, it was nothing spontaneous. But in contrast, you take Alice Cooper, and I was on a show about a year ago on a podcast. I was talking to a guy by the name of Dave LaGreca. He does the on Sirius FM. He does the Busted Open wrestling radio show with a bunch of guys. Really nice guy. It's a weird story how I got on that, but we did a thing together about old Kiss fans. And I said, you know, the thing that separates somebody like Alice Cooper, because, you know, when Kiss came out, they were always, well, it's for Alice Coopers. Not really, but the thing that Alice Cooper does, every tour he still pulls out, he'll pull out, you know, he's going to play 18, he's going to play Schools Out, you know that. But he'll pull out Cold Ethel. You know, he'll pull out something different that he doesn't typically play, and he'll include that in every tour. He'll dust off something he hasn't played for many years, or Escape, or something like that. I mean, he's going to play probably Ballad of Dwight Fry all the time, but he'll pull some deep surprise out for the older school fans. That's fun. And I mean, who the hell, as a Kiss fan, you wanted to hear them, you know, play Mr. Speed. You never played that.
Yeah,
you know, pull All the Way Out, or Coming Home, or do something different. I don't even care. Dust off She. You haven't played that in a while.
Yeah,
play
man.
Something you haven't. Pull The Oath from The Elder.
Yes.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
Why do you have to play the same fucking song with the same fucking tired rap?
I know, dude. You're right. It's even the same rap. Like even the
people over here.
The Paul Stanley stuff.
I want to know. You people over here.
It's the same.
I want to go out to you people out there.
Yeah, it was something else. It was something else. It worked though. It worked. I'll tell you, man. It worked. All right, guys. You guys have beaten me up. I'm done. I'm going home. I'm going to bed. That's it for us. The show's still running. We're still on. This has been a fantastic 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 48 seconds we're at right now. But I'm done. I'm done with you guys. It's been way too much fun tonight. Way too much fun. I'm thoroughly exhausted. I kind of like the mix up when we do a bunch of different topics and we just talk about whatever the fuck, and one thing leads to another, and whatever it turns into, it does. We got to come up with a new show. We'll figure something out with this.
We'll figure something out. We got a good formula.
Yeah.
We got a good group. I like this group. I like our chemistry.
Yeah, hang on, guys. Don't go anywhere yet because I gotta talk to you guys about something. All right, we're out though. We'll see you guys next week or whenever we come back on. And if we do a new show, we'll let you guys know about it. All right.
But just in case, Big Bri, if we don't do next week, we should wish everybody a Merry Christmas just in case.
Oh, very good. What
right?
a great
just in case.
Great human and manimal.
Merry Christmas and an early happy birthday to me.
All right.
And happy birthday. When's your birthday,
pal?
The 19th.
And a happy birthday. You'll be 51?
51, yeah.
Yeah. I remember because I remember you turned 50. Dude, I'm not completely lost.
50 news the new 30. 51's the new 32.
It kind of is, dude. I think you're right. I'm hoping. God, I hope you're right. What the hell? That fucking thing freaked me out. I was about to warn you. But I saw something behind you. That's so cool, dude. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Go
Later,
Browns.
everyone.